Top of the morning to you all. This is Dream from where the Oakland's grown. As you can see, I am standing in my front yard, and that is because it is time for an early spring garden tour of 2023. It is April 1st, and we have one more month before we're going to start our move to the next property, and I thought I couldn't leave this property without doing at least one or two garden tours and let you see all the plants and how they're doing that we just planted up in the last video. So if you are new here, welcome, and if you are returning, I am so glad to see you again. So let's walk around this yard and take a tour of it. Okay, so I'm going to start here. Yes, there is a hose going through the middle of the yard. This is life, people. You have to water things. So I want to start, I'm going to try to get out of the sun. I want to start here. This wisteria. She is always beautiful. Look how delicate those flowers are. Oh, and it smells amazing. Y'all, it took me almost 15 years to get this to grow, and it's only been this last 5 years that what you see before you is how it's come, and I'm sure gonna miss it at the next property. So let me show you. These are our potatoes. These will be going with this, of course. These are our potato bags. Each one of these are, the two big ones are 20 gallons, and the smaller ones are all 10 gallons. And the glorious lettuce tower. Now in this tower I had things growing last year, so we have some volunteer chamomile here. This is oregano that has come back for the next year. I'm not sure what these flowers are. I think they're safflowers, but I'm not sure. And then we have another big chamomile on this side. Here is the pollinator's garden. For those of you who are new to gardening, I always recommend to plant flowers in your garden. Try to stick to wildflowers. These are native wildflowers. I cannot remember the name of them right now. I'll try and put them up on the screen later. But we have echinacea that comes back every year. We have hyssop over here. We have rue in the back. We have some volunteer sunflowers. Bee balm. I think that's bee balm, and there's more bee balm around the corner. Of course, more potatoes. And these two little fig trees, this one right here and that one right there, are the ones that I rescued out of the Home Depot trash can. Yes, I took them out of the trash. And they're doing just fine, but they were throwing them away. So lime tree, lemon tree. And then here are our garden beds. Now we planted up, everything is still young, of course, but it's all looking amazing. I still got to get the mulch in. I got to actually go down and get that. I'll probably get it tomorrow because I use the Tractor and Supply. You all probably who have chickens probably use it as bedding, but I like it as mulch. So I still got to do that. This bee balm, look at that. I thought that thing was dead last year. The time, look how sweet those flowers are. Little tiny purple flowers all over it. So in our next video, even though we're doing this tour, we're going to be doing potting up different types of flowers and why you should do it. So stay tuned for that video coming up in another week. So here they are. They're all looking good. Even after a week, they've already grown quite a bit. The radishes have doubled in size just since I planted all this stuff. And I know in the last video, if y'all didn't see the planting video, I will link it down in the description, but you can see this is the top. And if you watch in that video, I dig a trench because this tomato was extremely leggy. And yes, you could dig it straight down, but because the stem was kind of thin, the best way to do it is to put it on its side and dig a trench and then point the top. Now you can't do that with determinate tomatoes, y'all. It only can do it with indeterminate, but that way you can see it'll be just fine. Asparagus ferns. Still got to get in here and do some cleanup. Got a pile of mulch. That's the job today. Also got to empty the pool, clean it out today. Now, if you remember the last video, none of our potatoes were growing, and now they're growing like crazy. All of the plants still got to be planted. Irises. Waiting, hoping they bloom before we move. I'm going to include all the pots that are already potted and the flowers that are getting ready to be potted so that you can see. Now, I plant flowers in these pots every year, but I like to do a mix of flowers, a vegetable plant, or flowers and herb plants, just to kind of keep that Garden of Eden feel. And it's something that I will do at the next property at a very, well, the plan is to do it at a larger scale. We'll see how this year goes. So we got some more plants to plant in here. Here is our borage and nasturtium. You can see this one's filling out extremely full. And then here is all the plants that these are all going in the backyard, but I've got more plants that are over here already in the pots. I just got to get them potted. I just want to do that. Do a different video in that. So here's the lavender. That is going to be a whole lavender. A little helpful hint for those of you who might be selling your properties soon. Plant lavender near your front door. Yes, there really is something to that in practical magic. So here's some flowers that I've got to get planted. I've got to get these taken care of. So this is an apple tree for those of you who are new. This is a heritage apple. And then this one is a Honeycrisp, but I'm beginning to think that she may not have made it this year. But of course, I thought she didn't make it last year, and she bloomed late. All the beautiful garlic chives. Little history about this garlic chive. It's mother plant I have had for 20 plus years, and I brought it from my last garden, and I brought it over here. Originally she was planted over at the other side, but then we brought her over here when we decided to do this kind of wildscaping, mixing berries and fruit and flowers. Got a lot of weed eating, still some cleaning. I gotta look at all the mayflies. Got some planning to do. Gives you an idea. So we're going to head out to the backyard now. So it is going to be very bright out here before we get started. So as you all know, let me turn around. We are remodeling the whole back, and all this had been done. And the gutter fell off and bent up. Okay, so we're going to start right here. And it is beginning to look a lot like a nursery in my backyard. So these are the tomatoes. Well, some of the tomatoes. They've all been potted up. These are all our tomatoes. And I'm hoping I can, that's why they're in big pots. I'm hoping that keeping them in the bigger pots will give them enough room so by the time we get over there, it'll, they'll go in the ground just fine. So strawberry towers, some of these I've lost, but I've got strawberries to replace them. Some of them look really good. Birds. Okay. Now, I'm not keeping these. These are tomatoes that people are coming to get this weekend. But you can see how beautiful they look. So I want to show you a table of tomatoes because I believe as a gardener we should always stay transparent. It doesn't matter your experience. At some point in time, you're going to have some kind of epic fail. They're looking better than what they did, but this little group of tomatoes, let me go over to the other side. Okay, before we start this, there is going to be a shadow. So you can see, get in close, these little tomatoes, they look a lot better, especially this center one, and this is what they were looking like. Now I brought them out here to get them away from the other tomatoes, but this is just one of those things that I had gotten a different soil than what I normally use, and I'll show you some of the peppers too, because it's affecting some of the peppers. It was just one of those bags. Unfortunately, it happens. You get one bag, and the mistake was me not catching it sooner than what I did, because just going through the motions, trying to keep everything watered, you know, getting ready for the plant sale and life in general, moving, cleaning, remodeling, it just kind of got away. They got away from me. But these are all little, these are the micro tomatoes, so I'm not really worried about it. They're bouncing back really good. They were, if you look, you see how yellow those are. They were lacking a lot of iron and potassium and magnesium, and so I took a mixture of bone meal, blood meal, and banana peel water, mixed it all together, let it kind of concentrate, and then I diluted that, and I've been slowly watering these, and they're starting to bounce back, so they're gonna make it. Luckily, these guys are called, I don't know if you've ever heard of them. These guys, I came closer. These guys are called cherry falls. They're supposed to look spindly. I thought I was doing something wrong, but then I looked up and started researching them, and they're supposed to look a little wild, and they're made to go in containers, so they fall. That's why they're called cherry falls. They'll fall over the container. So we're gonna get those in some containers back here, some bigger containers, but I'm gonna show you these ones. Here's a really good look at that one. You can see how light and yellow this is. This is just a lack of iron and vitamins. So they're bouncing back slowly, and we'll get them there. I will throw them in the ground. Trust me on that. Elderberry bushes. My husband wanted to keep these here for when they come through and they do tours of the house. Giant hibiscus is coming back. Of course, we have flowers here, and then we're gonna take these down and we're gonna replant them up, and we have some more flowers over here. Dear God, my maple tree blew over. Oh no. Oh, I think she's okay. Wow. Well, I wasn't going to come over here this soon, but I got her back up. I think she's okay. Wow, that's crazy. All the, I don't even remember what these plants are called. They've been here for so long. I know that one of them is, what do they call that? Not royal garlic. I think it's called royal garlic. I'll have to look it up. Just wanted to I wasn't planning on coming over here. There's a whole bunch of stuff knocked over. Even one of my pots over there in the corner is knocked over. That's so weird. Anyway, Joey's play area for those of you who are new. Those are pretty. Okay, more flowers. Yes, let's look at the mess of a garden. This is what happens when y'all see that? That is the guttering that goes along that. It was up on top. We had that's probably what blew over that tree. Big windstorms yesterday. There's a lot of, I think people got some serious storms yesterday, like in Arkansas, but anyways, it blew that off, and you can see it's twisted, so now we get to pay to have that replaced. Okay, here's the pepper house. So as you can see, these peppers were exposed to the same stuff, but these were tiny peppers when this happened, and I had hoped that You know, because I started, ooh, hello, Miss Paisley, y'all. This is Paisley. Miss Socialite here. Say hi, Paisley. This is my girl. Anyways, you can see what's happening. And you know, this is just part of gardening. It's part of what it is. And I've got good peppers and bad peppers. So we're going to take the bad peppers out and we're going to start doctoring them and hope for the best. We'll hope for the best. And then we have more peppers. You can see the ones that were not in that soil are doing really well. And then the ones that are in that soil, not so much. This tomato is mine. The chickens. So y'all see this bedding? I bought this bedding as a suggestion. And it was horse bedding, like horse pellets. Yeah, won't make that mistake again. You're not coming out yet, girls. All the plants are out. They're doing great. All right, here we go. Let's go see the horrible mess. This is my task today. Drain this and clean it and get it ready for the next homeowners. Okay. So this is my second round of tomatoes. This is a flat that a friend's coming to get. All the strawberries. Tomatoes and flowers, bean sprouts, and this beauty is a lemon balm I sold out of my yard. We'll see. Okay, let's go in the greenhouses. Here we go. Flowers, sweet potatoes. I was going to show you a turmeric. Here it is. Starting to get turmeric. Now, wondering what's going on with the ginger. My ginger was kind of old, so. Anyway, let's get out of here. Bugs. So the greenhouses are looking kind of, you know, not so many plants anymore. We've gotten rid of a lot of them. And we have a lot more. But these are all flowers. These are all calendulas. But these are all flowers for for our garden. And all of these plants right here are ours. And these are ours. And so, as you all know, I love my sunflowers. And I didn't know if it was going to work. So I took sunflowers from my yard and I transplanted them. And they're doing really good. These are ground cherries. I only planted 4. We're going to get those into a different pot. We've got some things that are just kind of holding on. My next epic fail. I tried to do this thing where you sprout lentils for your chickens. Yeah, that didn't work. I won't do it that way again. Next time I will follow my gut. When gardening, always follow your gut. If your gut says, I don't look like a good idea to sprout them in a jar, just don't do it. All these onions, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I'm going to try and put some here, and I'm hoping that they'll last until we get over there. But cilantro, and they'll be just fine in there. I forgot to show you these when I was over here at the table. We have some grapevines that we're going to plant, and then do you pronounce this Goya or Hoya berry? These right here are called Phoenix Tears. I don't know. I saw them at Sam's and I was like, you know, those are kind of cool. I'm going to just grow them. See what happens. Just listen. In the spring, that's what I hear every morning. And I have lived here for 20 years. These trees are old, and if they could tell a story, I can only imagine what they would tell us, and I am truly going to miss it. It seems so strange after 20 years we'll be leaving. But if you all are new and you found a little bit of value in this video and you liked it, would you be kind enough to give us a like and a thumbs up? Maybe consider subscribing for more videos, because we got a lot more tour videos coming. This property is for in-town city property is pretty good size. Our other one is just under 2 acres, and it is mostly land with a tiny little house in the middle of it. So I look forward to doing a lot of garden tours over there with you. So until I see you in the next video, you all take care of yourselves. You keep your heads up. And more importantly, you keep growing. Bye-bye, y'all.